Welcome to Fairy the Greyhound. We're on the Isle of Skye and today we're going to be visiting the Quiraing. We're staying at a fabulous campsite at Glen Brittle, right on the beach. Fairy is here eating her breakfast in her pyjamas as it's been a chilly night. But the sun is out, it looks like a lovely day, and we're going to take you on a tour of the Quiraing, which is one of the tourist spots, one of the must-see places to visit on the Isle of Skye. Fairy did a little bit of sunbathing before we set off. She found herself a little spot by the fence, sort of sheltered by the long grass, that she really liked to sit in when we were chilling at the campsite. If you've watched my previous two videos on the Isle of Skye, you will have seen that the scenery is absolutely spectacular. And there in the distance is the Old Man of Storr, which my second Scottish video showed you. If you haven't yet watched it and you'd like to see Fairy walking up to the Old Man of Storr, it is called Isle of Skye Part 2, The Old Man of Storr, on our channel. So we drove and finally we got to the Quiraing, which you can see here. Really spectacular rock formations with a winding sort of hairpin bend road driving up to it, and it had a nice car park at the top, so you didn't have to walk up it, so it's quite high from sea level. And then the path which went from the car park across to the main peak was a fairly flattish path, cut into the side of the hills, narrow, quite an interesting narrow path, but it wasn't a difficult walk, and it wasn't a long walk either. It was probably about an hour and a half there and back. It was quite a mild day. It was about 12 degrees, so Fairy was just wearing a thin cotton t-shirt today for the first time this year. There was a little bit of scrambling up and down rocks, as you can see, but Fairy's quite agile. She's quite adventurous for a greyhound, and she manages this type of terrain quite easily. You can see that Fairy's really enjoying herself on this walk. Her ears are pricked up vertical. She did see some more rabbits down the valley. She loves going out on walks like this with new sights and new smells. The scenery up here was absolutely amazing. You could see the sea, you could see the Isle of Skye in the background, you could see all the way across to the mainland Applecross area of the Highlands. It was just stunning. It helped that the sun was out. It was a lovely day, but definitely recommend this as a place to visit if you are ever going to the Isle of Skye. We stopped quite a few times on the way and had a lay down on the side of the hill. It was quite warm, and with my long COVID I do still struggle a bit with my stamina, so lots of rests are required. But it was just lovely to sit there in the sun just looking at the scenery. And I got some great shots of Fairy. It wasn't very busy on this walk. The sort of Scottish season for tourists on the Isle of Skye has only just started, really. The campsite only opened the day we arrived, so it's still quite quiet, but it gets really, really busy here in the summer. We wouldn't come again to Scotland in the summer. After last time we went, the midges were just terrible, but in April they're not quite out yet, so we were managing to enjoy the scenery without being eaten alive by midges. I always take Fairy's portable water bottle out on walks with us so that she can stop and have lots of drinks on the way. She also stopped and found a little dip in the grass which she thought would make a nice place to lay down, and she had a nice little snooze in the sunshine just here. There is a circular route you can do here, but we just did the short walk out and back. The next place on our list to visit was the Fairy Glen. When you Google this, you see images like this, where it looks absolutely spectacular, but very edited. This is what it actually looked like, and I have to say, it was quite disappointing. This was very touristy, with roped paths going around the stone circle, and didn't look anything like the photographs. But we can say we've been, and as it's named after Fairy, the Fairy Glen, we thought we should go and have a look. It looks very magical in the photos when you Google it, Google Images, but I probably wouldn't bother visiting if you go to Scotland, to the Isle of Skye. This one wasn't really worth the trip. When we got back to the campsite, the sun was starting to go down, and we had an amazing sunset this evening. You can see the sun glistening on the sea there. Fairy ate her dinner outside, and a big ship came in to the bay. You can see there in the distance. Beautiful scenery from our awning tent and our van. With the clear nights, it was quite chilly in the evening when the sun went down, so Fairy got into the van all snuggled up in her fleece, and she had some blankets over her to keep her nice and warm in the evenings. And all she likes to do is get in the van and sleep, whilst my partner sits out in the awning and does the evening cooking. Fairy and I sit in the van and watch and wait for dinner to be served. The mountains behind us looked beautiful as the sun went down. Lovely yellow golden colour. So that's the end of part 3 of our trip, and the next part 4, will be getting the ferry across to the Isle of Skye. So look out for that video. If you haven't yet subscribed, please click the subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any more of Fairy's adventures. Fairy's off to sleep now. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you again soon for more Isle of Skye adventures. And here is Fairy going to sleep with Millie the Highland cow.